The island of Guam exudes beauty through its natural environment, thriving cultures, and generous, resilient people. Located in the southern part of the Mariana Islands, Guam is a destination for visitors from all parts of the world. Its promise of serenity, the sun, sand, sea waves, and the welcoming smiles of its people bring thousands of newcomers to the island each year. Guam is home to indigenous Chamorro people. Events throughout history resulted to migration of other groups from neighboring islands and countries in the region. This trend triggered an increasing need for a broader range of culturally and linguistically appropriate services. Public policies and environmental changes over time contribute to new challenges and a rise in conflicts within families and communities. Individuals and families experience greater levels of stress and interruptions with cultural practices and traditional ways of island living. The behavioral health of Guam's residents is greatly affected. According to the latest SO report, an average of one person reportedly dies by suicide on Guam every 2 weeks. 1 in every 3 adults is a smoker, and 1 in every 5 a binge drinker. Somewhere connected to that is substance abuse, whether it's alcohol, crystal methamphetamine, or any other type of drug. There's a connection, and it usually starts off at a very young age.
There's also a connection with issues of dysfunctional family units. This conference and why it's so important, Go Peace, I think the importance of us coming together is looking at these issues. And most important, you that are the ones that will set direction for your community of Guam and the surrounding islands. I do believe with more activities such as this, focus on our individuals, our youth, our families, that when it comes to that sunset, we're going to have a beautiful sunset and a beautiful future. So God bless you. Congratulations to all of you. And let's have a very successful program.
The Prevention, Education, and Community Empowerment Plan, also known as the 5-Year Peace Plan, calls prevention partners to the forefront, to be part of the change, to promote positive mental health, to stop suicide, and to prevent substance abuse on our island. In 2013, Pacific Islanders gathered to create a shared vision for the island community, one with people empowered and committed to making healthy lifestyle choices. 5 basic aspects that ground the community with building blocks to the overall health and wellness of the people. In 2014, the peace community gathered once again to share the successes attained in realizing Guam's vision for peace and to reassess the strategies that work in continuing this journey. To accomplish what they envisioned for Guam in 2019, key planning areas were identified by Go Peace stakeholders focused on enhancing Guam's prevention and early intervention services, which includes paying attention to safety, health and wellness, education and empowerment, infrastructure and leadership, environmental stewardship, culture, and spirituality. The 5-Year Peace Plan indicates effective communication as one of the pillars to attaining the shared vision for a healthy Guam. Stakeholders find that media campaign messages are more relatable and effective when a personal story is being told by a person familiar to them, such as a respected figure in the community. The language and form of communication used influence effective collaboration and mutual support among members of the community.
People is a very important resource because of the diverse cultures and that we have now. We figured, we can have like little cultural groups, rallies, and just to bring all these different cultures together and to share what we have in common and what are differences in our lives, and then we can try to merge those differences and try to work together to cooperate. And then there'll be less discrimination and prejudice. Because that being in the way, that was one of the challenges of communicating with one another, is because we don't understand each other's cultures.
Effective communication applies to not only media campaigns, but also to local programs, trainings, and other services that are designed with cultural and language appropriateness.
We always come across the diversity of cultures, and I guess, for example, like if we need people, for example, like Micronesian, then I guess we need to choose Micronesian people to reach out to the Micronesian, because that way they can feel comfortable working with each other. Because if it's like some other people, yeah, some it's fast for them to get along with the people, but some it took time, and then when it took time, and then it just like everything collapsed, and then they won't cooperate with that person.
Another strategy is strong leadership through integrity, transparency, and follow-through. We enable our island's natural-born leaders to be the voice for many ethnic and cultural groups, social and faith-based organizations. Additionally, school and village communities, youth, and parents need to be part of the action towards positive change.
You need someone to spearhead a change that you want to see. Like, I think a recurring theme was the leadership. Like, for example, with the storytelling, you need to have a skill set so that you can teach people what to do with that. And I think leadership has a lot to do with that, in that you need to take the responsibility and tell yourself, I want to do this, I want to make a change in my community. And I may be small, but it starts with that one person. And if you just keep working on that and make yourself feel that you're capable, and you have partners that will help you with the one thing that you feel that will help the community, then it's okay if you're just one person.
It only takes one. And sometimes that one person will be the one person's voice in a crowd, and to sing that song, to try to beat that drum. And when the time comes, people will start paying attention and maybe be irritated at first, maybe feel put out, but if they take enough interest, and I think if we all take enough interest in each other's lives and connect with each other on that issue, on the issues that we face, whether it be addiction, whether it be abuse, whether it be suicide, whether it be the issues of not belonging, and take people in, take them seriously, and take their contribution and add it to the rest of what we have to bring, then we can create a good environment to foster change, to improve where we are in life as a society.
The youth are our next generation of leaders. Therefore, we must guide them towards a good direction by providing a safe and healthy future. Most importantly, engaging and empowering them to be part of that process. This is the next pillar for success.
As we look at the next 5 years, I mean, for those that are 13, they'll be 18. But I think that we also need to be looking in the other direction, and that we need to be looking at those that are coming into their adolescence. And because if really what we're looking at is making a change, we have to be mindful of the next generation. I mean, I'm the generation probably after Christy Jo. I'm old enough to be her grandmother, right? So I would be looking at the generation even before her, because as I've listened to the youth in my discussions, the table discussions that I've been a part of, at least, what I'm finding, what I'm seeing, is the younger ones tend to look at the older ones in their group for direction.
Good to be like an advocate of what you speak for. So also and not being hypocritical. So if you're in a program that says we don't do underage drinking, we don't do anything under the influence, then you should be an advocate for that, and you should not show people that you're a hypocrite, because everybody sees everything. So
stay true to your opinions.
Yeah. And stay determined to what you're trying to put out there.
Through their inclusion in the establishment and enforcement of public policies, the development of prevention media campaigns, and joining the behavioral health and social service workforce, the youth are given the opportunity to explore their commitment to the community and to strengthen their roles as effective community members. We are all instruments in making our island a better place. Each and every one of us can offer a unique set of skills. And if we combine our efforts and capabilities, we will be able to function as a stronger community. Grassroots engagement is the next pillar for success. This process fosters varied levels of community outreach, involvement, and active participation. Where cultural diversity, based on ethnic or religious beliefs and practices and native languages, are accepted, we use our collective strength to stop underage drinking and substance abuse. Respect and spirituality, common core values among the peoples of Guam, are just some of the strengths upon which important relationships and peace partnerships are built.
Like, the best leaders are one's followers. You have to have both perspectives, as to be the one who leads and the one who follows, in order to lead in an effective way. And I believe leaders have to come from within the society. You cannot be someone who isolate yourself from the society you're part of and then just became a leader for that one. And leaders are usually chosen by the people, the ones that they lead, and the followers usually with the qualities we've mentioned before. That's what they strive to see within leaders that they want to choose.
I think one of the main things that allows leaders to grow is educational opportunities, and that's one thing that's a huge challenge, is getting people the education, whether it's academic or vocational or technical, or just the ability to deal with people. That's a huge aspect of a challenge of building leadership and strong leadership. Not only that, but geography can be a huge challenge. The ability to reach out to your constituents or your people or your partners. Some organizations and communities have more tight-knit connections and networks, which make them stronger leaders.
We have to be also culturally sensitive in the sense, not culturally based on race, but also on age, gender. There are some people who are adept with social media and others who are not, so it could be in informal settings and up close that we need to take into account how we engage. We felt another important skill was building capacity and empowerment through training, communication, and motivation. We also thought an important skill was being all-inclusive, regardless of religious belief, social economic status, race, gender, sexual orientation, or age, so that no one is left out. And one of the key things we also, Jared touched upon, was about heart. We felt that compassion is a necessary skill in dealing with the things that we need to deal with in each of our roles.
How many of you ever felt like a little rabbit? You're trying to explain things to people, but they're not listening. They're telling you to be quiet. We don't want to hear what you have to say. A lot of us are that way. We run into that kind of a thing. When we see the answer, we know there's this thing that needs to be said or has to be, but people don't want to hear it. So in this story, it says, do we give up and say, oh, well, I guess nobody wants to listen, I'm going to be quiet now, or do we persist? The little rabbit did not give up, did he? He persisted, and in doing that, the other animals, oh, wait a minute. He's talking about something else. One child, there was a little kid, like a 5th grader, in school, maybe about 10 or 11 years old, he said, well, to me, the house was like the brain. And the brain was trying to figure out the problem. But the problem wasn't with the brain, it was with the heart. And so he was trying to speak with his heart, but the brain wasn't listening. And I said, now that is a really wonderful way of explaining that story. Does that make sense to you? Our brain sometimes try to figure out an answer, but really it lies within our heart. And it might be the other way too. Our hearts try to make sense of a story, but we have to figure it out up here. And that's a struggle. We have to always remember, this is different than this.
The participants at the gathering of Pacific Islanders feel strongly that in order to have good mental, physical, and spiritual health, the island's land, water, and air must be healthy as well. Indeed, there's a direct relationship between the island's natural resources and our community's health. Securing a sustainable, safe, and healthy environment completes the pillars for success in realizing our community's shared vision for Guam.
The heart of what we're dealing with is obviously the problem, right? The problem is in the heart. What is it? Crime, abuse, addiction. But the heart of all that is to know you've got a problem, be aware of it, and to educate yourself as to where that problem is stemming from. Where did it come from? How did it start? Somebody's got a story. How did abuse first start in your family? How did addiction, that substance, come into your life? And when you know that, when you know what's at the heart of the problem,
easier to treat them.
In life, a solid foundation gives meaning and strength for what is to be achieved. If we commit to work together, we build this foundation that will carry us to the completion of our vision. This mission to continue to work as one strong community is appointed to all who holds a stake for Guam's healthy future: adults and youth, professionals and volunteers, leaders and team players. Valuable prevention work has begun, thanks to our peace sub-grantees and other community stakeholders. But it is only the first of many steps that we must take to achieve our shared vision of an island empowered and making informed decisions for their health and others. So we continue to invite you to join us and be part of the change. A change that will realize a safer, healthier, empowered island community today and for future generations.